everybody. How you doing? More energy than that. How you doing? Exactly. I'm delighted to be here at the inaugural South by Southwest London Festival. And yeah, someone's phone's gone off. Are you okay? You're good? Okay, wonderful. We're good. Okay, listen, you never know. It could be an emergency. It's a creative emergency. That's why South by Southwest London is the best. Anyway, I'm delighted to be here to get into conversation with some brilliant people. So let's get going with the Chief of Technology for IE7 and the Akuna Group, the brilliant Manon Dave. Please come to the stage. Please welcome to the stage film and television director Stefan Schwartz.
Thank you. Yeah.
And of course, the governor of this chat, actor, filmmaker, musician, philanthropist, and entrepreneur, all-round creative, the one and only Idris Elba.
Hi, everyone. There, okay.
Don't be scared.
You're all right, you're all right. Very good. Hi, everyone. How you doing? Nice.
So before we get into the conversation, let's take a peek into the wonderful world of Idris, IE7, and the Akuma Group.
He started in a flat in East London, where talent was everywhere, but opportunity seemed like nowhere. No spotlight, just raw ambition, fueled by belief and a grind. The world watched the momentum, but fame, that's not the prize. It's what you do with it.
We're on something Idris Elba's talking about today.
For an immediate ban on zombie-style knives.
You change policies, reshape narratives.
Don't stop your future.
You lift whole communities. You raise continents. You create futures that have never had blueprints. You build something no one can ignore.
There is a youth culture across Africa that wants something, and that's what Sheba Island is, my retirement plan.
You shine a light on brilliance that has always been here.
The Akuna wallet would be a game changer.
You leave a legacy and allow others to write their own. Because when you awaken a giant in people, in culture, in places no one's looking, you don't just change lives, you transform the landscape. And it starts by believing you can.
I mean... Not just changing lives, transforming the landscape. I think that's such an important point to start on this conversation, because that's what you do, Idris. I think, it's very easy for people to just see you and see, an actor or quote unquote a movie star, but you do so much more than that. And, seeing this video shows us. So tell us in this moment, what's driving you today?
Wow. What's driving me? I think all of us have gotten to a stage where we wake up, turn on the news, and it's like despair after despair. It's bad news after this bad news. And what's driving me is the fact that I get to wake up and do something new every day. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's driving me that I get to do better than yesterday, if I'm really, really honest. And every day, as what I do for a living is a privilege. I get to go to many parts of the world, meet a lot of people, and I just never take that for granted. Never take it for granted, especially when I meet young people who oftentimes just see a bit of a wall in front of them, and they're not sure how to get to where they think I am. But in actuality, it's just every day. And so that drives me. That drives the way I think about things. It drives the way I ask my team to go out and be diverse on what they're thinking and how they try things. It drives my courage. I think we can talk ourselves out of stuff very quickly because we're afraid of failure, afraid of being judged, afraid of being different, especially in this part of the world, tall poppy syndrome. But I try to push for drive in the courage that, and encourage myself.
And with that courage, obviously comes, I guess the audacity just to be Just to be as creative as you like, really, isn't it? There's an audacity there, isn't it? That I think that every young person should have. It kind of can almost get beaten out of you, you know, as life happens. But you hold on to that, and you want that to grow for the young people that you meet, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about creativity.
You know, I was laughing just because my mum used to say that word.
Oh, really?
You have the audacity to come here at this time of morning. So as I just drifted up as
like, what's going on here, man? I was like, we're trying to have a serious pensive conversation. But audacity is an amazing thing. It drives people's creativity because you need that confidence, you know, to get stuff popping. So that's what I wanted to ask you first is, when it comes to creativity as capital for change, you know, what does that mean to you in this moment, and what are you doing, you know, creatively to push young people with your endeavours?
I think, you know, capital for change is an interesting phrase, you know, like everyone says the world, you know, money makes the world go round, and that's, you know, to some degree very true. But in my head, it's my imagination that makes the world go round. And, you know, imagination and creativity are linked, obviously, you know, and so trying to get young people to understand that their capital, their wealth, their fortune is within themselves, within that creative tool set, and being able to articulate it. You know, I think part of the reason why I do a little bit of everything and annoy the fuck out of everyone, I know, is because I just feel like it's better that you kind of illustrate to young people, just try it, just go for it. And before you know it, they're finding wealth within themselves. And that's like the one thing that I think young people don't realize is how expensive their imaginations are, how valuable their imaginations are when they share ideas, when they create stuff. And, you know, listen, I come from an era where in the 80s, hip hop was from New York. New York City, it was from the Bronx. And anything else was a cheap imitation. And now we live in a society where arguably UK grime, UK hip hop is the world hip hop at this junction, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that comes from the imagination of young people saying, well, wait a second, I don't have to sound like them, I can sound like me. Wait a second, let me hybrid this sound with this sound and create this. That's imagination, and then therefore that becomes capital, and that becomes change.
Indeed. And here we are in East London, you know, the place that
let's go.
Place that birthed you, and look, you're with your two people that you are in, you know, in beautiful community with, in business, in tech, in creativity. And I want to get straight into talking scripts, because I think this is such an important thing for anybody who is watching this, who's gonna, you know, who wants to get into industry, that is neurodivergent or has got dyslexia, because this is a really personal thing to both you and Stefan, isn't it?
Yeah. So, you know, Talking Scripts is really the brainchild of Stefan Schwartz, the director. He and I did Luther together. I didn't know it at the time but about Stefan, but I knew it of myself that, you know, I find reading scripts very difficult, actually absorbing the words, because I didn't know it at the time, but I am dyslexic. And so it would take me, you know, my wife knows this, because whenever I'm texting her, I miss out half the sentences. And she used to correct me, but now she's like, I know what he's trying to say. But point is that dyslexia grew over time. It became a bit of a hindrance for me when you know, you're reading a lot of different scripts at the same time, especially if you're in a series, you're reading revisions all the time, and they come in paper form, usually. And so Stefan and I bonded over this idea that he had about what if we could do it, you know, in a different way and help, you know, in an inclusive way for people with dyslexia to absorb scripts. And this was, you know, Stefan started this about 4 years ago, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember getting offered the 20th episode of House and going, I'm really excited to direct House, but reading 20 episodes, it just was a nightmare. I was getting so freaked out about having to read that and the time and the pain that would cause. So yes, it kind of came out of necessity and realizing that people with any sort of neurodiversity, ADHD or English as a second language have that same fear of, you know, getting into it, and even people who want to be in the creative industry who don't want to have to read everything, you know. And so we went, how can we make a nice listening experience? And we were both listening to things on other platforms where it just played everything at the same time. It played all the, the watermarks and the page numbers and everything, and it was a nightmare, but it was sort of necessary. And you were virtually in tears when we started talking about it. You were going, oh, I need this so badly.
It really is a vital piece of tech, isn't it? Because when you think about the education system, even over the past 20, 30 years, it has come on leaps and bounds, but there are still people who've got ADHD, as you say, Stefan, or who've got dyslexia or any sort of learning, delayed learning difficulties, who will just be dismissed, or who will not be encouraged or supported, or maybe just, labelled disruptive because of just the way that their brain processes things. So this isn't just, something for creators. I think it really could be for anyone, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll let Manon talk about the sort of specifics about this, but, digital readers are a thing, and they're a thing. People like to listen to their books, their news articles, and that's a thing. And it is definitely a reaction to more and more people realizing they have this neurodivergence when it comes to reading. But we wanted to make something that was specific to the film industry just because there is so much reading. And, this is where I brought on Manon to help us sort of bring it to life.
Yeah, my mom thinks I work in IT still, so that's so this is kind of mad, but
technically.
I mean, you would be forgiven for thinking that. So no, look, when I got involved, honestly, a lot of the thinking and the work was done, and just to flash back to what Idris was saying about, unlocking one's creativity and thinking about, in this case, how you embody a role. I can imagine, not being an actor, but that process of doing that. In fact, I watch my wife embody Beyonce every time she's singing alongside the Spotify screen. So, but you can see already from the interface, we took a lot of that kind of behavior that people were becoming accustomed to in sort of consumer apps, and the way that we consume music, for example, with things like the kind of lyric engine and Spotify and things, and just trying to apply some of that UX approach and the way that we expect to do these things that aren't part of our everyday job. And when I was learning from sort of Stefan and Idris about some of the challenges that they face, both because of the fact that they have dyslexia, but also just the sheer reams of paper that you have to go through to understand the role, we started to brainstorm about how we could both change the way that the interface is, but also was at the helm of what I think everybody here has been hearing about for the last couple days, of when kind of AI started to become a bit of a kind of consumer component to all this stuff. The thing I have to really tip my hat off to these guys is this app was really built originally before any of that stuff really kind of came to the fore. So we were working with the voices that your phone already has baked into it in accessibility mode. But with the stuff that's going on now, and we're excited to kind of talk a bit about where it's going, but injecting that element of cutting edge technology and the stuff that people are excited about playing with and consuming both inside and outside the industry, I think was a part of it.
You speak about the difference in voices. Can you tell us more about that, just the diversity of sound that we're going to get from this app? Yeah,
for sure. I mean, one of the interesting things that's been doing the round since 2018 or so, when the smart speakers became really popular in all of our homes and we started switching on lights and switching off lights and all the rest of it, was the kind of singular voices and really singular characters. Alexa is really one or two characters. And what I learned very quickly from Stefan and Idris is, again, the process of kind of shaping a character, not just for yourself as an actor, but also in the process of screenplay writing and the iterations that people go through. So straight off the bat, Stefan, was very keen to make this very inclusive, from everything from accents to tone of voice to register to regionality. And I think you really wanted to make it a universal tool.
Yes, but it is because it's not really thought about. It's actually quite hard to find those voices, but now it's becoming so much easier with AI and text-to-speech, and I think the beauty of the app is it's not taking away any jobs from anyone. It's just helping people like Idris and I, and probably about 20% of the industry, but also we're now getting the opportunity to really diversify and play with accents and play with regions, and yeah.
And Idris, how's it been for you just using the app in the sort of beta versions? Have you found it just instantly helpful?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, as an actor using the app, you get to basically, when you use it, cast your voice to your character or the characters and such. And basically listen to the environment, listen to the storytelling. So you have a voice with scripts. Some of you definitely know that you'll have the action of what's actually happening, and you have the actors and the characters. And all the action, you can choose a voice to help you drive through it, and then you have all these different characters that you can cast. I use it because, for the reasons, but just if I need some background noise and be able to do two things at the same time, I can absorb a script by listening to it while, learning my lines for something else,
And finally, where can people get hold of this app?
Well, so we have, believe it or not, it's actually already being used in the industry, which is honestly for me one of the most exciting things. I'm a freaking nerd when it comes to binging on TV shows and stuff, and I just have to take pause here because listen, it's all stars on the stage, from Clara all the way down here, but we've got to give this man Stefan a round of applause for directing these shows. So but before we talk about how you guys can get involved, I'd love to let Stefan just talk about, how it was used actually.
Well, yes. I mean, I have been sort of developing it on all these shows and getting crew members, and I just remember the designer saying, I spent all my time driving from one set to another, and now I can listen to all the revisions as I'm going. And so it has been, I've sort of been spreading it quietly amongst, on the shows I've been working on, these shows. I'm just starting on Rings of Power now, so I'm going to try and get people excited about it there.
You haven't cast me, so...
Okay.
I'm a little salty about it.
The next one. No, it truly is incredible. This is industry and actually life-changing stuff. And I suspect it will get rolled out into other industries. Is that a hope for you?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I'd say other departments within industry, we're designing it where directors and actors can sift through, but each department of every part of the film industry could utilize the listening of this. We have really big ideas for what it can do in the future, how we can integrate it with sound, how we can make it very revision. So you only listen to the revisions rather than listen to the whole script again. We have a line learning for actors who are trying to learn the lines. You can work with the app to read the other lines and you do that. So we've got some really big ideas for it. But it is actually quite specific to the industry right now.
Sorry, Clara, I was going to say, first of all, are there any the boys fans in here? Like, if there's, big up Stuff in Shorts. Can I just run the clip? I'm actually going to check this out. This is actually how
Let's do it.
Stefan used it. Yeah.
Huey takes his hand. Ezekiel.
On this blessed day, you'll be reborn a Christian. You'll be washed clean of all your sins.
Homelander looks deep into his eyes. Homelander.
Something wrong, Huey?
Huey.
No, I'm totally comfortable. Why would you ask that?
Homelander.
Your blood pressure is 150/90. A bit high.
Yeah, sorry. Just, I'm afraid of water.
Don't panic. I got you.
Truly so impressive. Well, here's to big ideas. Stefan, I know we've got to sadly say goodbye because more people are coming through. Thank you so very much for spending time with us. And again, thank you for helping develop Talking Scripts. Stefan Schwartz. And we continue. Oh, hello. And we continue. Still here. Still audacious. Please welcome to the stage DJ and producer and Akuna Wallet ambassador DJ Vyrusky and managing director of Akuna Wallet, Kwadwo Owusu-Agyeman. There we go. excited to talk about this because Idris, I think people really need to know that, like, you being involved in the celebration and the development of Africa as a continent, sub-Saharan Africa in particular, isn't anything new. You've been doing this, and you know it's a space that's getting more expansive and louder, more celebrated, but there's still a lot of work to be done. Yeah. So can you tell us, first up, like, where you came to, I guess, how the Akuna Group came into fruition, and what are your hopes for an African-led company in this climate as well?
Yeah, so Akuna is actually my middle name, Akuna, and it is the Africa-facing side of my business. I have a family office and I have the Akuna business, which basically is looking at all the areas that I've been working across in Africa. Everything from food security, energy, don't ask me how I got into the energy conversations, but I'm in that, to obviously creativity. So Akuna's run by an expansive team. KJ's a part of that team, and some of the audience are here, part of that team. So one of the reasons we've been trying to, organize ourselves to work in Africa and bolster areas is data is key. Having data, having trusted partners, having really well-structured ways of achieving goals. I think a lot of people talk about Africa as this big monolith and, everybody wants to, Africa is the breadbasket and all of that.
Some people still think it's a country, my friend.
And one of the things, even with, being Sierra Leonean and Ghanaian, my reach was hampered by not being organized. So Akuna was born, and when it comes to the creative sector, it feels like I'm obliged to help other voices grow within the creative sector across Africa. Okay, I feel like I hold my hand up as a beacon for young creatives, especially when I go to Ghana or go to Sierra Leone. It's like, cool, when can I come and make a movie with you? How do I do that? And I want to make sure that there are real structures of how to do that, real signposts, not just this idea that, I'll just throw some money into it and it will happen. We need to really have a structure around it. So Akuna was born. So this is, one of the products of Akuna.
And with that, there's also the Akuna wallet, which is really important. So Manon, can we get into that further? For people that don't know, can you give us some further detail on what the Akuna wallet is?
Yeah, so the Akuna wallet is really a way for people in the creative industries in Africa to transact, and it's across borders within Africa, but also outside of Africa. We all know that kind of the culture of the diaspora is widespread, and there's music and film and art that is really kind of coveted around the world. And even on a platform as widely used as YouTube, there are African countries and folks in African countries who are millions of views that are excluded from outwards payments, just because of the way that the governance of certain things work. And there's a whole, people far more educated on the subject than me know about, the fact that there's a massive unbanked population as well. So we really started to think about, ways that we could, first of all, help creatives and the creative industries specifically transact and share their skills with Africa and the world. And the wallet enables that through essentially a really simple sign-up process, a way of retaining the value of your currency, because we use blockchain technology developed by the Stellar Development Foundation, and there's no cryptocurrencies involved, but it's a way of kind of making sure that we help others verify the identity and the validity of folks who are using the wallet to share their products. So it's downloaded. We've got a little trial going on, which I'm sure KJ will talk about in Ghana at the moment, and it's really great to see creatives like DJ Vyrusky talk about how it's benefited them.
This is it, Vyrusky. I see you smiling and nodding along, feeling very proud, very happy. Look, you're creative. You live and breathe in Ghana. What challenges do you face, and how does the Akuna wallet help someone?
Okay, so I think I'll start with a bit of context, so we understand the real problems. So I'm a DJ, music producer, an artist, and I do music marketing and strategy for a lot of African artists like Kiss Daniel, Davido, Patoranking, and the rest. So now, when it comes to music marketing, there's a problem. So you have the executive producer who is in maybe the States or London trying to send you money so that you get the TikTokers, the influencers to get on so that you start the promotion. Now you have to look for somebody who has an account in Ghana to receive the amount, because usually the figures are quite huge, and the banks will flag them here. So you need someone in Ghana who has that amount sitting in the account, then they transfer the money to the person. So before you start the promotion, you are already late, like maybe a week or 2 weeks behind. And then the person receiving the money also wants to get their cut. So affecting the whole budget, you get it. So it's...
That's Ghana.
It's crazy. That's Ghana for you. So, yeah. And also, because I play a lot of shows on the road, like I'm always playing like in Europe, in London, in the States. So you are in Afro Nation playing a concert, and maybe you played an event in London, maybe at the O2. Now you have to be in Ghana to verify if the amount has really been sent to you. I can't stop being on the road and go back home and have that. So I think Akuna Wallet solves that problem for me, because now I have an account which is instant. I mean, when you can't give me stories. Now I have the account.
You literally have the receipt.
Yes. So when I just send it to you, you just send it. Because sometimes these Ghanaian promoters, I mean, they are good people. I love Ghanaians. But sometimes...
Hashtag not all Ghanaian promoters.
Yeah. Don't get us cancelled in that crowd, please.
But sometimes you have a show and they're like, you know, the amount sending is a bit of a problem. So when you come to the States, they give you the money. You show up, now it's stories. But you're already there and the fans are there to see you. You can't give a story because your name is going to be cancelled because it's like you showed up and nothing.
Well, this is it. And the last thing you want to be thinking about when you're trying to be creative is, logistics and reputational damage. You just want to be able to get things sorted and just get on with the thing that you love to do.
Yeah.
KJ, can you tell us about the process of testing the Akuna wallet in Ghana?
Yeah, so first of all, before any of these fancy designs of the app were made, the team really went across Africa, different cities, and really spoke to creators engaged in different cities across the continent to really learn about the problem, right? And then fast forward to today, we've been approved in Ghana by the central bank under their FinTech and Innovation Office. So we're in a sandbox environment, and that means we're within the regulatory safeguards. Now, what that allows us to do is to roll out to a couple of users. So we started doing that a couple of weeks back. Now the feedback has been mind-blowing, right? So people are coming to us with all kinds of requests. And you learn that people want to be the best version of the creator they are, right? So they are like, how do I start? How do I grow? How do I scale myself like any other professional who's in like corporate work, right? So they're asking for things like, how do I do group projects? How do I connect with other creators? And how do we set up a project and get paid and do the splits? All of that's not possible today. You heard DJ Vyrusky talk about the problem. And I don't know if you guys know this, but he's like a 2, 3, 4, multiple time best DJ. Five time, okay. 5-time best DJ in Ghana award winner. And even he has to go through these problems every day. How much more if I just started yesterday, right? So we have all of these requests, and the long-term goal is to really help creators achieve long-term financial prosperity. So that cuts across the entire value chain of anything they want to do in terms of growing their craft. Yeah.
I mean, it goes back to what you're saying, Idris, about not just throwing money at a situation, with the platform that you have and say, okay, right, go ahead, here's X amount of money. Like, this is really giving people agency over their own business that they just should have without having to spend like big conglomerates, right?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, Africa, for many reasons, gets overlooked as an environment that has very rich fiscality, and part of that is because the data isn't there, right? So the creator sector in Africa is, in Nigeria is a very big sector. It makes nearly $5 billion a year. And that is an interesting number because a lot of it is in piracy, a lot of it is unverified, but it's a number that is well known. We've all watched and we've seen YouTube's, TikToks make strides towards that, but these strides are oftentimes not really built for the younger creator, the early start creator. So for us, we're trying to understand how we can build that, data set that allows companies and conglomerates to look at Africa and go, okay, this does work. You know, the YouTube model is around advertising. So you might hear them say, well, actually, we can't really verify the data, we can't verify who owns this record, so therefore we can't pay. Well, hopefully, where we'd like our wallet to end up is being able to have a data set that proves the numbers, that strengthens the creators, and gives them, you know, wider nets to go after.
And with that, are you having conversations with government as well? Are you taking it to that level, or are you keeping it? What you can say, we can share here. Safe space.
Yeah, well, I mean, what I'll say, I don't know any governors, so I'm not meeting any presidents. But what I will say is, one important thing though, you know, is actually not to tackle an entire problem completely in isolation. And you know, we're in a creative part of London. Everything that the guys have said, we're tackling those issues for creatives in Africa right now, but essentially the scaffolding of all of our creative industries require a lot of the same stuff. So it's, you know, it's rights sharing and it's distributions, and you know, you'll see on the screens behind me, there's a £182.20 from PRS. That was for 70 million streams probably, but that's you know, that's that money is, you know, it goes through a system, and at the moment a lot of those operators and agencies and folks even in Africa don't have the apparatus to actually distribute that money fairly. They don't have the ability to kind of put those constructs in place for any individual deal or individual. So this is something that we're presenting, you know, as a problem solver, not just for a small slice of people in some part of Africa. It's really an industrial issue that hopefully we can help the African continent tackle.
I mean, look, not to avoid the question, the truth is that we couldn't do this without support from at the highest level in government, and that's where the National Bank has been a part of that conversation. And we've decided to sandbox it in Ghana for now. It's a very healthy creative environment, healthy environment for the regulations, and it gives us a chance to really sort of understand the product. In the future, I'd love the wallet to be known as the creator wallet. Creators across the world, whether African or not, find this wallet you know really useful. I'd love to build an environment where creators can crowdfund each other's projects. We'd love to build distribution of your products into the environment of the Akuniverse.
Very good, very good.
In a world. And ultimately, you know, this entire environment being a place where your money's safe, your projects are verifiable, copywritten, distributed, and right now, for a lot of African creators, there is nothing. So,
and people are actually leaving the continent, which isn't ideal. I mean, obviously, you want people to be able to be expansive with their creative processes and you know, go to LA, go to New York, go to London, but you also want people to stay in Ghana and to create in Ghana, right? Yeah. Vyrusky, tell us some more. You're not yet.
Yes, yeah, that's actually very, very key. And so, me, myself, and like people like in my team, we always find ourselves trying to find an easy way out. So we want to leave Ghana, we want to try, you have people relocating, because when you're in Ghana, you are like, I mean, you're stuck. Because, I mean, you can do a couple of stuff, because you need someone's account in the US before you can access a lot of stuff. But once this is really, really working in Ghana, you don't need to go anywhere. You just stay wherever you are in the world. You can just grow globally and just do what you want to do.
And Idris, I wanted to ask you, like, what shift have you seen, particularly in the past, like, 5 years? When you go back to Ghana, you know, and you're doing your different projects, what shift have you seen in young people and just how they're using, you know, the tools that they have available to them? Because everyone's stuck on their phones now.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I definitely say Africa is an early adopter of a lot of tech. Digital money is being used in Africa for a long time before wider adoption in the West. Definitely in the creator sector. I mean, you've got guys, you know, if you imagine these phones, whether Android or iOS, you know, any film or piece of music that was made in the 80s was made on equipment less superior than your phone now. And so these kids know that. They're making films, they're making songs on these devices. But ultimately, there is a wall when it comes to getting it out there and monetizing that. I think that the confidence that Afrobeats, Afro stars, Nollywood has given African creators, young creators, is huge. Seeing DJs coming around the world and playing Ghanaian music, playing Nigerian music is making everyone say, I can do that.
Yeah.
So.
And does it feel different to you as well, KJ? Like, what difference have you seen, I guess, not for you personally, but financially for business, for young creators in Ghana?
Yeah, no, I think there's been a lot of progress. These days, at least, you can earn a living in Ghana. But the problem is, how do you scale that? So I'm in Ghana, I'm doing okay, but somebody living elsewhere in Europe or in Atlanta, US, doing the exact same output is earning, 10, 20 times more than I am, right? So that's where I think we still have to go to the next level. But there's been a lot of progress over the last 5 years, and we're seeing young people. I think there's a lot of unemployment where we come from in Africa. So this is one of the fastest growing means of people getting work to do and paying their bills over the last 5 years, and the future is bright.
Idris, not to put you on the spot, but people always...
But you're going to do it anyway.
Of course. No, people always like to know what's next because, like you say, you do a bit of everything. And, we've seen how you've developed this incredible tech with Manon, with Talking Scripts. We are seeing, the brilliant thing with the Akuna wallet. What's your next sort of goal in the tech creative space, particularly for the continent, actually, that you would want to roll out beyond?
I think, look, everyone knows that the buzzword is AI. And what does that actually mean? I've been saying for 2 years that artificial intelligence will leapfrog the creative sector in Africa, all right? And so for me, a lot of what I'm thinking about, especially with what we're doing with Akuna and the Akunaverse, if you like, is figuring out a ramp towards full production. How do I get young people to make a film, tell a story, whether it's a short or a feature, utilizing their phones, utilizing AI, utilizing a hybrid of all of it, finding ways to finance their films and distribute these films. That's the sort of mindset I'm thinking about, is like, what does that actually look like? And the truth is, that environment exists. There are many ways that people are making films in a digital domain and distributing them in a digital domain. I think Africa has this opportunity to expand that. Across the continent, I think there's a crazy number across the entire continent. There's less than about 3,000 cinemas, okay? Actual cinemas that you and I have grown up. I would love to be able to tackle some of that because I believe that the cinema experience that we all have gone through should be experienced by a new generation. I don't think it should all be on the phone. And how do I do that? I guess building a model of data that shows that actually people do want to watch films, that they will enjoy the experience of theatre. I'm not going to try and boil the ocean, but it's going to happen one bit at a time. And the data is one thing. Building the strength and the economy around the creators is one thing. And then the distribution of it. And so, yeah, man, I want to build the African Odeon.
Here for it. But that's so powerful, just the thought of that, because again, when you talk about creating that, I'm thinking of just a brand new economy, because that's new jobs for people. That's another stamp, on the continent. That is something that can be hopefully replicated, And again, it's like we've all watched pirated films. It's okay. Like I said, it's the same space. But you want it to. I see the vision. You want to be able to create something that will eventually stop people from going like that in the cinema and say, look, this is a homegrown thing. This isn't a.
It's trying to. This is a mono moment for all of us in this room. We were all here. We all remember this, or maybe you forget it as soon as you walk out. But we are all here at the same time, and it's an educative moment, and we can share it. And I think the cinema experience across Africa and young people could do the very same thing if we could find a way to do that. But also, it's just more about, for me, you know, Sabrina and I, we talk about this all the time, where talking for voices that don't have a way to speak up. The creative sector does that in so many different ways, and anything I can try and do to take what I've learned for 3 decades, right? Not 30 decades, Jesus Christ.
No. 3,000 years.
3 decades.
Wait, so I was 10.
Yeah, no, don't do the math, man.
Let's not. Yeah.
But for 3 decades, what I've learned and being able to perhaps influence what happens, you know, as a growing economy in Africa, what happens for the next 30 decades.
Also, why not?
That's why KJ does the maths, okay? Let's just be real here.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's part of what I want to do next.
Well, here's to that. Idris, thank you so very much for your time, Manon. AJ, Africa to the world.
Well done. Thank you, buddy. Yeah,
thank you, everybody.